I'm ready.
All right, you ready? Yeah. Good. You can start now, Mayor.
Call to order of a regular meeting of the Goodyear City Council, 14 April 2008. Please join Councilmember Holland in the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing and bow your head as a sign of respect to our military on duty here and overseas, especially in Kabul, Afghanistan. Our firemen and policemen that guard the home front, please keep them safe. Our community, city, and business leaders, may they make good decisions. And special thoughts for the refugees around the world. May they soon find homes. Amen.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Antoniak is ill this evening. He should be back next week. And so we have 6 members of council here. Could I have a motion to excuse Vice Mayor?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Vice Mayor is excused. We have no expenditures to ratify or approve. Just one communications item. I'm very pleased to introduce our new city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
John Fischbach is here with us today. It's his first day on duty in the city and his first day at a council meeting. So excellent article on you in the paper, I thought. It laid out your background and your plan for the future. And so, Jessica, congratulations for that. And but we're glad to have you, John, and you're going to make a difference. Well, we thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. Okay, opportunity now for any citizen who would like to comment on any subject not on this evening's agenda. It's not on this evening's agenda.
I have 2 speakers.
Okay.
Glow O'Donnell.
Okay, Glow.
I'm too short.
Good evening, Council, Jim, Mayor. I am here to invite you to the May 1st at the Southwest Lending Closet supporter party. You all have supported us so many times, and we appreciate it. And we'd like to show you how much we appreciate it. We'll have music, we'll have something to eat, and we'll have nice gay times. So I hope you all will come. Not just one, but the whole council, plus John, and plus Brian, who has served us so many months as the interim, well, what am I saying? Interim manager. Anyway, please come, and I would like to see you. And I also want to thank Jim Kavanaugh. Not only will he see a big, long check that our president, Brenda Holland, will be receiving from the president of Estrella Mountain College, but Jim came to the golf tournament. We did a lot of tournaments and not a lot of tournaments. We did a lot of fundraising, and that's one of them. And I even got his picture. Anyway, I want to thank all of you. I want you all to come May 1st, and you have a little thing right in front of you, and some of the rest of you in the back have our new newsletter. And if you didn't get one, come down to 113 East Western Avenue in Avondale, and we'll be sure to give you our new newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Any questions?
For the entire Southwest Valley.
I'm sorry. I have hearing aids, so I don't always hear.
Said thank you for all you do for all of us in the Southwest Valley.
Well, thank you. Good evening.
The second speaker is George Peterson.
Well, Mayor and the council, I'm here in regards to I live up in Estrella. And,
Can I have your name and
my name
address?
My name is George Peterson. I live at 11308 South Coolwater Drive, Estrella Mountain Ranch. I'm here to talk about the park. I'm not sure what to properly call it, the park or that's going up in Estrella next to the high school. And I believe they're in phase 2 as far as the planning for what to put in this park. And I'm speaking for a lot of my friends and about possibly in phase 3 getting pickleball courts up there. I realize it might be trivial to some people, but I mean a lot of people are interested in this sport. Normally, the only place we get to play is if we have friends that live down in Pebble Creek, and we come down the hill and play down there. I was told that you're still doing research as far as what you would like to put in there, and I was told if I just come here to the meeting, I can have someone contact me, and I know the people involved in setting up the whole situation down at Pebble Creek, and I can talk to whoever would contact me about this.
Okay, well, thank you. Your input's very timely, and Brian, do you want to say anything now, or
No.
why don't you just report back to us in a week or two? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time.
Okay. Anyone else from the public on a non-agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we'll move the consent agenda and ask the clerk to read them by title only, please.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a work session and a special meeting held on March 10th, 2008, a work session held on March 17th, 2008, a special meeting held on March 19th, 2008, a special meeting held on March 20th, 2008, a special meeting held on March 24th, 2008, a work session held on March 24th, 2008, and a regular meeting held on March 24th, 2008. Item B, approve a request from H.K. Lekowitz, representing Cost Plus, Inc., for a Series 10 liquor license, number 100755587, for Cost Plus World Market, located at 885 South Cotton Lane. Item C, adopt fees for the rental of the skate park located in the Goodyear Community Park. Item D, adopt Resolution 08-1222, authorizing the signing of a cooperative agreement with the Maricopa County Community Development Department to participate in the Maricopa County CDBG program for the federal fiscal years 2009 through 2011, program years July 1st, 2009 through June 30th, 2012. Item E, approve a use permit to allow convenience use for a Taco Bell restaurant with drive-through on a 1.10 acre parcel in the Cobblestone Creek Commercial Center, generally located at the northwest corner of McDowell Road and Pebble Creek Parkway in the Palm Valley Planned Area Development, subject to stipulations. Item F, approve a use permit to allow convenience use for Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant with drive-through on a 2.05 acre parcel generally located 300 feet south of the southeast corner of Pebble Creek Parkway and Virginia Avenue, subject to stipulations. Item G, adopt ordinance 08-1110, adding to Chapter 3 of the Goodyear City Code, Section 3-2, pertaining to ADA accommodation and grievance procedures. Item H, approve the map of dedication for Amaranth Area 1, 75th Avenue. Item I, adopt ordinance 08-1111, amending the approved El Cedro planned area development, providing for an increase of 12 residential lots in parcel number 4, an increase of 10 residential lots in parcel number 5, and reconfiguring approximately 47.62 acres of planned commercial and industrial land uses generally located at the southeast corner of Cotton Lane and Lower Buckeye Road, the southwest corner of Cotton Lane and Elwood Street, and the northwest corner of Cotton Lane and MC 85, adopting supplementary zoning map number 07-028 to provide for the planned area development amendment, providing separability, and providing for an effective date. Item J, authorize the city manager to execute a professional services contract with Wildan and Associates in the amount of $52,244.91 to update the water and wastewater emergency response plan. Item K, approve the preliminary plat for Wood Corporate Campus in Ballpark Village, subdividing 242 acres into 44 lots for a mixed-use development generally located on the east side of Estrella Parkway from approximately 1/4 mile north of Goodyear Boulevard South on the north to the planned Bullard Avenue extension of Elwood Street on the south, subject to stipulations.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone on council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
7K, Mayor, the preliminary plat for the Wood Corporate Campus on Ballpark Village. I would have to recuse myself.
Okay. Okay, then, seeing no request to remove an item other than for the recusal, could I have a motion to approve consent agenda items A through J?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Susan, a second from Councilmember Lord. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Councilmember Holland?
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa?
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh? Did you say aye?
No, Councilmember Cavalier, too.
Oh, that's, I'm sorry, Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay. Now, if you will recuse yourself, could I have a motion and a second to approve K?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Susan, a second from Councilmember Holland. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Holland? Aye. Councilmember Osborne?
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa?
Aye.
Councilmember Lord?
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to the business part of our agenda. And we'll start with the formal names for parks. And Jennifer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jennifer Campbell, Parks and Recreation Superintendent. And tonight we're asking you to adopt formal names for 4 parks here in Goodyear. 2 of the parks, Falcon Park and Estrella Foothills, are the proposed names for the park located up next to Estrella Foothills High School in Estrella Development. Falcon Park is located on Indian School Road, just east of Falcon Drive. Those 2 names have been submitted and chosen for the guideline of naming a park according to a street, a location adjacent to the park, as well as a geographic location. The dog park, the name that has been chosen, which is the dog park next to Rozier Road and Estrella Parkway, we've chosen the name Roscoe Dog Park, which is named after the first dog canine that we had for the police unit. He has since served, retired, and passed away. And according to one of the 6 guidelines that we brought to you at one of the work sessions, that's a park named after an individual or a dog that has done a significant contribution to the city of Goodyear. And last but not least is the Goodyear Recreational Complex, which is the ballpark spring training complex. And the name chosen there was names that were generally given to complexes that reside in other municipalities. There is no official committee to name parks here in Goodyear. That has always been left up to council. When a future park and recreation board does come on board, that is a way for them to, again, take that duty from you, name them, and then submit names for final council approval. So tonight we're asking that you approve the 4 names that we've listed for adoption.
Okay, Jennifer, before we go around the table, you said Roscoe Dog Park, and it says Roscoe
It's actually
Park.
Roscoe Park.
Okay.
Yes, it's the dog park. So we're just going to name
But
it
it's
after the
called
dog.
Roscoe Park.
Yes.
Okay. Comments, questions?
I guess just one thing that we don't know is that will there be a plaque for Roscoe, just so people understand why that's being called Roscoe Park, and any park that was named after any one person or animal. Just there should be something that identifies that.
Yes, Councilmember Osborne, we can definitely look at putting a commemorative plaque there to just let people know why the dog park was named. We will definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, could I have a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the motion is to adopt.
Adopt the names of the parks as listed in the COAC.
Okay, a motion from Councilmember Cavalier and a second from Councilmember Holland. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Now move to the temporary sign ordinance. And, okay, here we go. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. Before you is proposed amendment to the City of Goodyear zoning ordinance with regards to temporary signage for multifamily properties. The zoning ordinance currently allows residential subdivisions to display up to 6 identification flags so long as each flag is no longer than 12 square feet, contains no lettering, and is not maintained higher than the building height. These flags must be removed when the subdivision is 95% complete or the model home complex closes. Multifamily properties are not allowed to use these identification flags under current regulations. The proposed text amendment would allow multifamily properties to use these flags with the same provisions as subdivisions. The flags would have to be removed when the multifamily property, when the complex is 95% leased, or after 1 year upon the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy, whichever would come first. The text amendment also modifies special event signage provisions. Currently, multifamily residential and non-residential properties are allowed the same special event signage. This type of signage is allowed for a maximum period of 10 consecutive days with 30 days between these type of displays. This allows a property to display this type of signage for a maximum period of 90 days per calendar year. The text amendment would modify the zoning ordinance to allow multifamily residential properties to display special event signage for 30 consecutive days with a maximum of 3 such displays per year. So this would still allow 90 days per calendar year, which would be the same as commercial properties. It would just be packaging the amount of days in a different way that's more convenient for multifamily properties. The city did receive additional comment on this text amendment since the staff report was written. Capital Consulting requested that the city consider allowing cumulative days rather than consecutive days so that they could utilize this type of special event signage on weekends only. However, staff feels that if the 90 days were allowed to be used cumulatively rather than consecutively, it would veer away from the intent of allowing special event signage because a weekend in and of itself isn't necessarily a special event. There are other cities in the valley that do allow cumulative days for this type of signage, but they allow much less than 90 days per calendar year. So the number of weekends that a multifamily property in Goodyear would be allowed to use this sign would be similar to that of other valley ordinances. So we feel our ordinance isn't more restrictive than other valley zoning ordinances. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this text amendment by unanimous 6-0 vote. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only, please.
Adopt Ordinance 08-1109, amending Article 7-6, Section 7-6A of the City of Goodyear zoning ordinance dated May 24th, 1999, as amended, to allow identification flags to be used by multiple residence properties and to modify the special event signage regulations for multiple residence properties, providing separability and establishing an effective date.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve the ordinance.
I move we adopt ordinance 08-1109 as read by the city clerk.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Lord and a second from Councilmember Holland. It's open for discussion. Councilmember Cavalier.
Yeah, is this, I'm not sure I understand what these signs are, what kind of signs these are. Does the homeowners association override what this states in this ordinance?
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Cavalier. This would only be, we're only changing this item for multifamily properties. So usually, the rental company serves as an HOA.
I see.
for residential single-family properties, they already are allowed to have these small identification flags to grab attention as you're driving by. And so what we're doing is allowing multifamily properties to have these too, so that they have the same type of rights as single-family properties.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Cavalier?
Hello?
Councilmember Souza?
Woo.
At least you didn't call him Brenda or George. Oh, yeah.
That's one for you, Jim.
Slow and big.
Thanks.
How do you propose controlling, who is going to controlling the time frames? In other words, at the end of the year, who's going to say, okay, you've had it, this is the flags are coming down? Nobody's going to do that.
Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Sousa. Basically, that would be up to both the Community Development Department and Code Compliance working together. When this would require a sign permit, and on the sign permit, we would then determine when their year would be up. It would be a little bit harder to keep control of it when the apartments are 95% leased, which is why we also put that 1-year provision in there. And so we would just make sure that community development would make sure that code is aware when those need to come down.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, we'll present the next two items together. We'll take separate votes, but Sarah Chilton will present them at one time. So that's C and D.
Mayor Kavanaugh, council members, I'm bringing forth two development agreements with two companies that are controlled by Andy Rediger. These agreements are follow-ups to the agreements that we entered with the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, as well as the development agreement that we have with the property owner where the Cancer Treatment Center is being located. As you probably recall, one of the commitments that we made to the Cancer Treatment Center is to provide infrastructure necessary to support their development. That entailed the construction of two roadways, West Fillmore Road from the railroad tracks where it ends at Litchfield and across their property, and then the construction of 157th Avenue, or 143rd Avenue, off of Van Buren. We have agreed to pay the developer for the construction of this, and one of our obligations was to acquire the rights-of-way. In addition, when we got into the project, there are RID canals that go across the property owned by and controlled by the EJM group, Fred Stiles, and one of the obligations we would have had was to relocate those irrigation ditches and to incur the cost of basically tiling over or piping those particular irrigation ditches. We worked with the property owner, with Goodyear Commerce Center, which is an LLC that is controlled by Andy Rediger, and Arizona Industrial Partners, which is another property that is adjacent to West Fillmore, to acquire the rights-of-way, the temporary construction easements, the public utility easements, the drainage easements, and we were also able to reach an agreement with him that would allow us to terminate the irrigation ditches and avoid the cost of incurring the cost of retiling, relocating those RID ditches. He's just going to give up his right to receive RID water to those properties. The two agreements provide for the acquisitions of the right-of-way and the terminations of the irrigation ditch. Arizona Industrial Partners borders the just West Fillmore, so we're acquiring right-of-way for West Fillmore. We're acquiring the public utility easement for the construction of utilities along West Fillmore. We're acquiring a drainage easement as well as temporary construction easement. Goodyear Commerce is providing us the right-of-way needed for West Fillmore and also right-of-way needed for 143rd Avenue, as well as the corresponding public utility easements, temporary construction easements, and the drainage easements. both properties have agreed to abandon their rights to the RID water, so that will terminate their right to the delivery, and they'll execute those agreements. The only thing that we did, which we contemplated earlier with the CTCA agreement and the agreement with the property owner, was we agreed not to charge him for any portion of the construction of those roadways. And that's basically the two agreements in a nutshell. Any questions?
Thank you. We'll see if there's questions. Opportunity now for comments from the public on either the development agreement with Goodyear Commerce Center B, LLC, and/or Arizona Industrial Partners 1, LLC. Any comments from the public? Questions? Seeing none, could ask the clerk to read the resolution on Goodyear Commerce Center, please?
Adopt Resolution 08-1220, approving and authorizing the city manager to execute Goodyear Commerce Center B, LLC development agreement relating to the construction of public infrastructure, dedication of rights-of-way and easements necessary for such public infrastructure, and termination of rights to irrigation delivery service from Roosevelt Irrigation District, authorizing and directing the city manager to take all actions and execute all documents necessary to carry out the intent of the resolution and development agreement, including but not limited to accepting on behalf of the city all conveyances of real estate interests provided for in the development agreement and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion, please, to approve the resolution?
Move the council approve and adopt resolution number 08-1220 as read by the city clerk.
Second. Motion from Councilmember Souza and a second from Councilmember Lord. Discussion, council. Councilmember Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Chilton, does this involve any agreement with the railroad at all?
No, that was a separate transaction that Raul Varela was able to negotiate to acquire the ability to get a crossing across the railroad tracks.
So that was done already?
I believe that has been done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Cavalier,
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, now I'll ask the clerk to read resolution with the Arizona Industrial Partners, please.
Adopt Resolution 08-1221, approving and authorizing the city manager to execute Arizona Industrial Partners 1, LLC development agreement relating to the construction of public infrastructure, dedication of rights-of-way and easements necessary for such public infrastructure, and termination of rights to irrigation delivery service from Roosevelt Irrigation District, authorizing and directing the city manager to take all actions and execute all documents necessary to carry out the intent of the resolution and development agreement, including but not limited to accepting on behalf of the city all conveyances of real estate interests provided for in the development agreement and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved as read by the clerk.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Holland, second from Councilmember Lord. Open for discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Osborne.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now consider amending an IGA with Arizona Child Protective Services. Mark Brown.
Evening. Second time again tonight, huh? Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. Last November 26th, this council approved an intergovernmental agreement with the town of Buckeye, city of Avondale, city of Goodyear, to include child protective services in our Southwest Family Advocacy Center. What we wanted to accomplish with that was including them as a partner in the multidisciplinary approach to the investigation of child crimes, sexual crimes, and other domestic violence issues. The reason I'm here tonight is to ask you to approve the amended intergovernmental agreement. Child Protective Services wanted some specific things mentioned in the intergovernmental agreement, so what I'll do is I'll go through those, and we consider them minor. They don't really change anything with the agreement. They still would be a partner with us, but they simply were insistent upon some specifics being mentioned in there. The first one, and probably one that just needed to be clarified, was under records keeping. It says such records shall be available for inspection upon 5 business days' notice to the center's day-to-day manager. That would be our crisis services, our director of the Family Advocacy Center, Chris Chopin. We wanted to make sure that she had the ability to go and get records from them with a 5-day notice, or within that 5-day notice. So we think that that was important to include so that we can all share in those things. Some of the other amendments were the number of office spaces dedicated to the Child Protective Services workers. And we wanted them to make sure that they had the 8 cubicles that were identified. We wanted to make sure, and as did the Child Protective Services, that the Department of Economic Security, which is their parent group, is providing their computer and a printer for them. Also, that the Department of Economic Security maintains and repairs computers and printers, and the workstations will have a phone for local calls only. The final thing on there was they wanted to add their attorney, David Longo's phone number to the agreement, making sure that that was part of the official record. And those are the amendments, and I'm here tonight to ask you to approve that.
Okay, thank you. Comments from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion to amend the IGA?
Mr. Mayor, I move the council adopt an amended intergovernmental agreement, known as an IGA, that was previously approved with Resolution 07-1206 on 11/26/207. So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Souza and a second from Councilmember Osborne. It's open for discussion.
The only question I have.
Councilmember Souza?
Thank you. The only question I have, Mr. Mayor, is that do we assume any additional liabilities other than the ones we had prior to the original agreement, with taking on additional, excuse me for just a minute, Child Protective Services, do we assume any additional liability by bringing those folks on the premises?
Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Sousa, we're basically providing them a space to work. They still would report to their own managers, supervisors, and operate under their own protocols. All we are simply offering them a place to be so that we can expedite the connection between the law enforcement investigation and Child Protective Services.
So if we get into any legalities, their own insurances would cover that. Is that correct?
I would assume that is correct. I don't think it mentions anything. Yes, I do.
It does.
It does.
There's an insurance provision and an indemnification provision, so it looks like we'd be covered under that.
Okay. The same as it was before.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I can't compare it to the previous one, but there are provisions.
Yeah, and that was not changed in the amended.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now move to report on current events by council members. Councilmember Holland.
Last week was a week of tours for me, so I was on the road quite a bit. On last Tuesday, I toured the Superfund sites around the city. That was very interesting. I'm going to recommend that others that have the opportunity to do that. It is amazing, and you get an in-depth explanation of why they became a Superfund site from the Arizona Development Department of Environmental Quality, ADEQ, and the EPA. And I just found it very enlightening. I'm going to make that recommendation to others on the council. And then the second thing that I did, our water resources manager took me on a tour of the Bullard Water Campus. Very interesting. I don't know if he's in here tonight. Jerry, I was thinking Jerry, no. Good job. He explained everything. We got out. We walked around, hard hats, the whole business, inside looking at the water membranes and reiterated some of the problems that we have with brine. And so I got a chance to write an article in Focus this month to be coming out having to do with water. So hope you guys take the hints I'm putting in there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Souza.
Mayor, you and I attended Westmark this past week, and it involved transportation as it affects the entire state of Arizona. Needless to say, the figures, monetary figures that we heard were rather shocking. The figures that we heard were rather shocking. To keep this state going and building what we need for future expansion, this state will be responsible for $160 billion just for road work. Staggering. So there was a lot of conversation on how you approach this problem. And, it was left in the air. We're going to be faced with this in the future. And the comment that I made during the course of that meeting is that we're really paying for the hindsight that our predecessors in the state had in not passing transportation bond issues. And we're faced with the problems we have right now on I-10 because of that. They didn't plan for what we have right now, population-wise, and we're suffering for it. And we're going to pay the piper. Maybe not immediately, but we're going to be paying for it. It's staggering. I don't know where the state's going to come up with this kind of money, but the problem was presented to us and is being discussed at length by ADOT and by MAG, which the mayor is a impact member of, and certainly Westmark, and with the directors and executive board of Westmark are reviewing this. So I thought I'd just bring that to your attention. Am I correct in those numbers?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, Ms. Lord and I both attended on a local level. We were at the regional conference for housing and transportation that was with MAG, and we discussed transportation as it occurs in our city and with affordable housing and senior living. And so that was, you looked at it at the big picture, and we looked at a little more at the little picture. So
Still money involved, isn't it?
well, yeah.
Okay, just last point, I gave a little speech in the Chamber of Commerce to Swarita and Glen Valley Chamber on Friday, and Susan prepared the presentation for me. It was all about how we brought schools to Goodyear, and if any of you get asked to present a speech, it's ready and willing to go, okay? So it's a good one on that subject. Okay, opportunity now for City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. First, we contacted Vice Mayor Antoniak to check on his availability so we could do a work session, if possible, prior to Ms. Osborne leaving town and Ms. Lord leaving town. He can do Thursday or Friday morning or Thursday evening. So I don't know if you want to try to agree to a time now, or if we can call you tomorrow morning and see what works for you.
I know Friday, there's two meetings. There's the audit meeting and there's all the American City.
Yeah, we need. Is the staff going to be ready by Thursday or Friday?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Well, then, can you call us in the morning? Is that better? Yeah.
We will do that.
We may not be able to do that one. We'll see.
Secondly, we will define police substations versus the central station and their roles and staffing levels per council members Cavalier's question. We'll do that within the next 2 weeks. We will also do an article in Focus on barking dogs for Ms. Lord's questions, and dog owners' responsibilities. Connie will do something on dog owners' responsibilities for the future. And in response to Ms. Osborne's questions, we will also be preparing some type of pamphlet for handing out regarding barking dogs, not by police, because they are the enforcement agency, but we'll be looking at it from a neighborhood standpoint, and Connie will be looking at that also. And for Mr. Cavalier, we will be looking at what do we do for securing construction sites and looking at the cleanliness and orderliness of those. And Mark Brown mentioned that he would follow up on that. The mayor questioned the process, setting up a process to measure progress with dog complaints. And Connie and us will work on that and develop some kind of process to see if lower number of repeat calls can have an impact on the number of dog complaints. We will also address Mr. D'Amico's noise complaints and get the information that Linda Dillard has and do a report for the mayor and the council with regards to that, and looking at the different suggestions that he's made, whether it be sound cameras, adding fines to fund noise, confiscating cars, things like that. The Parks Department will report back to the City Council on the Phase 3, if I got that correctly, planning for the new community park, especially regarding pickleball courts, within the next 2 weeks. And Joanne's suggestion that or Ms. Osborne's suggestion that we do a commemorative plaque for the dog park explaining who Roscoe was, we will take a serious look at that and see if we can install something like that. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor.
I didn't know we did that much.
John, I want to make a correction. It would probably be the city engineer would be responsible rather than the chief of police on the debris on the site.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to amend your thing about the file with Linda Dillard. Mario Salgamando has some papers in there too about some of the car series that are accessories that come in from the dealerships. And was able to make duplicates of the files. So we could look at that one too.
Well, you can talk to them about that. Okay, offline. Great. Okay, opportunity now for council to ask questions of staff. Any inquiries? Councilmember Lord.
I had a couple people come before me and ask this. Are we going to have any transportation for the elderly and persons of disabilities to the baseball field during Cactus League games? And I guess also any kind of transportation from one part of the city, you know, from Litchfield Road to the baseball stadium.
Buses.
Mayor, council members, we are looking at that as the overall transportation plan, circulation plan. We are looking at some level of transportation for the players along with some of the other workers, maybe a 15, 20, 50 passenger buses. We are looking at a neighborhood circulator bus to carry some of the citizens or those who want to attend not only in Astoria Mountain Ranch and create that route from Astoria Mountain Ranch to the north to the mall up to the college. So we're working on that.
Good. Okay. Thank you. And then I had one other thing. Councilman Dave Rio called me from Buckeye and wants to set up a Southwest Valley council organization like the mayors that get together. So he's asked me to work with him and several other people. So through the summer, we'll work on a format, looking at maybe having the first meeting in September sometime. So it's just a get-together of council members of the Southwest Valley just to exchange ideas and get to know each other.
Sounds good.
We need a new organization.
Okay, thank you. Meeting's adjourned.